buenos días.
Buenas tardes, buenas noches.
This is Barb.
And this is Estela.
And welcome to
Cafecito.
And Crime. How is everyone doing?
We hope everybody's doing
well. Dude, I really wish that I could be like, how's everyone doing? Y todos me contestan.
I'm sure they are.
I'm sure. I'm doing great.
I'm doing great. You know, ahí la llevamos.
Ahí la llevamos.
Yeah.
No, todo chilling. You know, algo.
It is what it is.
Hey, it's almost the end of the year. Y ya se vino el Santa Claus this year. Ya me lo va a llegar.
Yeah. Time's flying. I feel like September, October, November, and December just kind of like...
No, it was literally like the summer and then it went blah, blah, blah,
yeah.
Like that.
Then it was like we were on fire and then like... Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, literally. And the mornings have been a little cold. El otro día tenía ice my car.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
On the windshield. It was awesome.
I'm excited.
And me too. I can't wait. Do you think we're going to be colder?
No.
Okay.
Not in December. Probably January.
I just feel like I don't mind cold, pero luego se pone bien como pegajoso. It's nasty cold.
What do you mean pegajoso?
Like it's humid. Yeah.
No.
Bro, I'm going to look it up online. Y está humid afuera.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to look it up. Okay. So, do you think Santa's bringing you a gift?
Somebody's buying me a gift.
Okay.
Yeah.
Somebody's buying.
Because we're doing Secret Santa.
Yeah, we are doing
and
Secret Santa.
And my name is in the little thingy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
So we'll see what happens. I'm excited.
Santa's bringing you a gift?
Probably not.
You're not in the little thingy for Secret Santa?
You know what? I just feel like this year Santa was
You just told me you're doing Secret Santa at work.
Yeah, wait, pero at work?
That's a gift.
A gift is a gift.
That's
I love gifts, so it doesn't matter.
And it's a thought that counts.
Yes. But it's because I have a list, pero no me van a traer nada de mi list.
Oh, you have a list?
Yeah, supposedly, pero it's not doing very well. But anyway, so today's episode will be brought to you by
me,
Estela. And where are we going, sister?
Okay, so for today's case, we are going back to somewhere that we've already been to before, Washington, D.C.
So if you would like to go to Washington with us, go ahead and grab your cafecitos.
Again. And let's get started.
Again.
Okay, so...
That must be hard to find do you remember what we did?
For Fun, Random, Interesting?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember. It was the one about how some presidents had an alligator in their houses.
Oh, yeah.
And that a lot of people in Washington, D.C. drink a lot of fucking wine. And they were talking about Olivia Pope and, Scandal, the show and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah. Luego, I don't know if I remember this quite correctly, but there is a place where you can own... Didn't you say something about owning a cow? Maybe somewhere else.
Oh, that it was like prohibited?
Yeah.
I think it was California.
I don't know. But anyway.
So there's a lot of facts that you can find out. Random, interesting facts about Washington, D.C.
Let me tell you, last week when I did my case, no había nada. I was like, oh my God, what am I doing?
We're going historical.
Yeah, I was like, there is a rock there. El crystal salió de ahí.
De ahí, el mineral.
Del mineral. Yeah. That's about all.
Okay, so a newer or unknown fun, random, interesting fact about DC that I found out about is
is it Washington, D.C.?
District of Columbia. Okay. Like the capital.
Okay.
Yeah. It's that the oldest fish market in the U.S. is located in Washington, D.C. The municipal fish market at the Wharf opened in 1805.
At the what?
At the Wharf.
Wow.
1805, and it's the oldest continuously operating open-air fish market.
That's pretty awesome.
I know, since 1805, bitch.
That's pretty chido.
That's over 200 years.
Dude, where is there? I've seen a movie donde van y luego se avientan los pescados. I wonder
it's in Seattle.
In Seattle?
Yeah, they do that.
Oh, okay. I think it was San Francisco, dude.
Oh, maybe.
Pero anyway, so maybe así se avientan los pescados, ¿no?
Yeah.
Pero then they have to go really early, the fishmongers. I don't know if that's a word, pero...
It is.
Anyway.
But okay, so that's one. You know how I just told you there's always a lot for Washington, D.C.? I'm going to give you another one.
Oh, síguele.
Yeah, síguele, voy a seguir. Okay. Now, the second fun, random, interesting fact is that George Washington is the only president that didn't live in the White House.
I knew that.
You knew that?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I did know that because, I have an 8-year-old, so we have to do all kinds.
You guys are learning that together.
Yeah. I relearn things.
And it was because at the time, the White House hadn't been built. But, bitch, Washington, D.C. wasn't even the capital.
No,
It was Philadelphia.
it was, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
No me acordaba de eso.
Sí, acuérdate que yo di I think that was one of the random interesting facts that I looked up
Really?
for when we did the case of one of my cases que it was in Philly.
Oh, no me acuerdo. But it stopped being the nation's capital on June 11th of 1800. And it was actually George Washington that picked the spot or the area of where the White House was going to be built.
Oh,
so
he said
picked
aquí.
it right here. He said right here.
Right.
And
right
then
here.
it actually began construction in October of 1972, bitch.
Batallaron un poco.
Oh, I'm sorry, 1792. Why did I say
I don't know.
1972?
I'm like, wait, what? Y yo también, güey, yo de pendeja, really? I was like, batallaron para empezar?
1792.
Wow.
And it was John Adams was the first president to live in it.
So George Washington was like, you know what? No importa, yo aquí estoy chileando, pero yo te voy a decir donde la pongas. Pero no me tengo que vivir ahí.
I think he lived in New York or something like that.
Oh, he was fancy.
With his fam. But yeah,
that's cool.
That was more than one fact or more than two facts. It was like a little history lesson about the
Dude,
White
that was
House.
history straight up.
Yeah.
No te pasaste de
So it
verdad.
wasn't George Washington. It was John Adams, the first president to live in the White House.
I knew that, pero wasn't George Washington the one que tenía dientes de pollo?
Wood.
De wood. Es que dientes de pollo, you remember the song? Yeah.
No, when I was looking up you type in something into Google, the search engine, I'm like, why did George Washington? And then stuff populates right under. And it was, why did George Washington have wooden teeth? That was like the first thing that popped up.
Bro, because he needed a tooth fizz. Déjalo. Es que back then it was chill, you know?
Yeah.
That was his grill.
That was his grills. Grills before grills.
Yes.
Okay, so that was that. Those were the facts. Now, today's case is sad.
Wow. What an occurrence.
No me digas.
No me digas. Flashing news.
It's about a little girl named Relisha who was pretty much failed by every adult possible in her life.
No.
And it's going to piss you off, as it should.
As it should.
As
and
it should.
Probably will, and I will want to be...
Like, you want to be done. I'll be like, okay, yeah, we're done tonight.
Yeah. No, y luego, ¿qué te iba a decir? Algo te iba a decir... ¿Voy a llorar como tú?
Maybe,
Yeah.
pero de coraje.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay. So we'll start with Relisha's mom, Shamika.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it'll give you like a little bit of more perspective of like just the cycle that she was caught in. And it was generation, because of generations,
Definitely, it
so
happens a lot. Mm-hmm.
as it happens to a lot of people, So Shamika Young was born on May 6, 1986 to Melissa Young.
Oh, ¿estaba bien joven? ¿Del 86?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
¿Es de tu edad?
Sí,
I
por
just
eso.
capté.
I'm like, what? Estaba bien joven la muchacha.
Yeah.
Era quinceañera.
Now, I'm not sure what the name of her dad was, but not that it matters. But he wouldn't be in her life very long. From the time that she was born, until the age of 2, she was raised by her grandmother, Mary Young. And after being in the care of her grandmother, Shamika ahora sí se fue a quedar con su mamá, Melissa. Those years were very unstable and chaotic because Melissa had an alcohol and a cocaine addiction.
Cocaine addiction?
Cocaine.
You said cocaine. I'm like, a what?
Cocaine addiction. And she also had 5 kids to take care of. They bounced from place
Pero
to
me
place.
imagino que if you have 5 kids now, I'm probably just thinking out loud, pero like para tener dinero para comer y también para la addiction, that must be hard. Porque
sure.
no está barato eso de andar haciendo cocaine.
And they bounced from place to place. And eventually Melissa took herself and her children to a homeless shelter. And they would actually be there for months. Now, Melissa was later arrested for assaulting a police officer.
Oh, shit.
And was convicted in 1995. So Shamika se tuvo que ir a vivir otra vez con su grandma. Mm-hmm. But it would only be for a short period of time. She was then placed in her first foster home in April of 1996 with 2 of her siblings. She was removed from the home in 1998, and her files showed that the foster parent requested her removal due to behavioral problems such as stealing, lying, being uncooperative, and bedwetting.
Okay, so let's remind everyone that this is just the mom. Oh, isn't this
the foster mom? Because she was placed in a foster.
Pero this is just the story
mom,
of her mom,
the mom de la little girl. About today's case.
Yeah. So just a reminder that all of this is just the beginning of the back the backstory.
Yeah. And it was in that same year, in 1998, Melissa's parental rights were terminated.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
They were like, that's bad when you don't even get like nothing. Like you can't have them at all.
So Shamika was placed in a new home where she spent 4 months. She was then also removed due to her behavior deteriorating, and quote, she threatened to kill everybody in the house.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah. In the following foster care that she was sent to, which was one that they called that it was for like troubled kids, she spent 8 months there. From October of 1998 to June 1999.
Ya estaba grandecita.
So she was like 12, 13.
Yeah.
One of her siblings joined her, and I think it was su hermanito chiquito. His name was Antonio, and then Antonio actually got adopted by these foster parents.
Oh, yeah, no.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Pobrecita.
So her time in that foster home, it was turbulent, but not because she was being treated bad, not that I could find anyway, but it was, again, because of her behavior. Otra vez, she tried to run away. She fought with other children, and she threatened to kill her foster parents. And her file also reports that she would sometimes tell her foster mom, quote, I can't take it anymore. And that's really sad because she's literally 12.
Wow.
And it was after one of those instances that she told her foster mom that Shamika was taken to a crisis facility for children.
Like she needed help. Like something was going to happen if she didn't get the help.
And after a bit of time there, not sure how long she stayed at that facility, but maybe a couple of days, she was released back to the foster home. But then she ended up back at the facility again. And she was, again, 12 at the time. She was going
All of this happened, as we remind everyone again, at 12.
Yeah.
Vuelvo a comida frita. Because como hice
You were frying stuff.
I've cooked.
At one point, she was taken for an institution for children with disabilities and emotional and behavioral problems in Virginia.
But what did she? Oh, well, she did have emotional behavior problems. I mean, she didn't. I mean, they would call her disabled, I guess.
Yeah. So I'm not sure how long she stayed there, but after she left from that facility, she went back into foster care. I'm not sure if it was with the same family that she was last, but she was in the foster care system until she was 18.
Bro.
And then she signed herself out at 18.
Yeah. You imagine how hard it must be? Because you know you're not going to get adopted. No one adopts older children.
Yeah, especially if she used to having like behavioral problems and stuff like that. Because I'm sure they read through your files.
Yeah.
Y todo eso is going to be in your file, I'm assuming. It's so sad.
Can attest to a kid having behavior problems. It is so hard when you do feel like, I don't know what to do. Like you literally are like, you put your hands up like, ya no sé qué hacer. Like I can attest to that. And I can just imagine anybody that was trying to help her. Yeah. Because they don't want any help. They just feel like they don't need it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After she signed herself out of foster care at 18, she got involved with a man named Irving Rudd, who was 12 years older than her. Remember, she was 18. And a year and a half later, Relisha was born on October 29th of 2005 at Washington Hospital Center in Washington, D.C. Now, not a lot is known about Irving Rudd, but one thing that we do know is that he was convicted of the involuntary manslaughter of his 17-month-old daughter, Tarika, in 1992.
Uh-oh.
And he was sentenced to 15 years in prison and got out in 2002.
So then after he was out of prison is cuando se juntó con la Shamika.
Yeah. So Shamika had 2 kids with Irving, Relisha and another son, Irving Jr., who was younger, I think maybe like un año. But the couple would eventually like separate.
Let's take a quick break.
Persons of Interest is back, and it's bigger than ever.
That scream will echo in my head for many years.
Taser! 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 He's gonna shoot!
Oi! Shot fired! Shots fired! Shots fired!
Stay out! You got a gun on you!
He had the perfect aim.
I am absolutely stressed at that point. I have no idea where my officers are.
Persons of Interest available everywhere you get your podcasts.
Irving.
Did they tell you what happened to the little girl, the 17-month-old? It was just you said it was just
involuntary manslaughter. There was I did see some stuff. I think she ended up she hit her head and then he like placed her in a tub. That's what they were saying. But as I was reading more, his lawyer then something about they coerced the confession out of him and that que no estaba bien de la mente o no.
So
Yeah,
mad.
so es lo que dijeron. I don't know. After he got out of prison, there was never anything that he was charged ever again in his record. So I don't know what exactly happened there. I didn't look that deep into it. So
Yeah. Okay, no, I was just wondering if maybe like
maybe he did, maybe he didn't.
Like I was just wondering si like.
Pero la niña, they were twins.
Oh, so quedó una.
Oh, yeah. Wow. So that was that. Pero Irving would see the kids cuando se separó de Shamika, pero it's like he didn't see me. It was very sporadically that he would see them. Pero like when I was reading up on the case, when Relisha and her little brother were with their dad, I think they like to go over there and spend time with time. Yeah, with him and his new wife, and I'm sure he had other kids también. And we would learn later that Irving actually filed for custody of both their kids in 2012.
Oh, really?
But nothing came of it porque ni él ni Shamika ever showed up to court.
Fast and Furious and shit.
So I don't know.
So they didn't care enough to either one of them to show up to court.
Yeah, but
he's like, I want the kids, but I'm not going to show up.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there.
Yeah, that doesn't sound very.
Yeah. So when Relisha was 2, Shamika met Antonio Wheeler through Facebook. And they began dating. So Antonio was also from DC, and like Shamika had spent time in the foster care as he was growing up. And the couple went on to have 2 boys together. They had 4 kids in total. So it was Relisha was the oldest, and then she had 3 the boys, yeah.
Irving Jr. and then the other 2
boys, yes. Now, in 2012, the family of 6 was evicted from their apartment, which they rented with a housing subsidy. By that point, it had been their 3rd eviction.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. And afterwards, they lived in a motel for 3 months, but then they ended up moving to a homeless shelter, which was the old DC General Hospital. And that is where today's case took place. They're living in the homeless shelter in 2014. At the time, Relisha was 8. And for someone who lived a hard life, no child should ever be living. She was described happy, bright, smart, just super high energy, full of life. And there are videos of her. I'll show you some. And they're talking to her, and I think she's doing something for an after-school program. But just the way that she talks, like you could, like her energy just, it comes through the screen. And according to, I think this is how you say his first name. I'm sorry, sir. Labone Workman, who was a Payne Elementary social worker where she attended school. She was mild-mannered. She loved her class and was very respectful. And she also loved pink and purple. Y le gustaba bailar, and she wanted to sing. And
just like all the little girls.
Yeah, and she wanted to be a model and a singer. And she was a cheerleader, and she was in Girl Scouts, and she was part of 2 after-school programs. So she really tried to join any after-school activity so she could spend more time there and not
tener que
go home. Yeah.
Pobrecita.
As I mentioned, Relisha's home was at the homeless shelter, which she referred to as, quote, the trap house or the G, which was located between a morgue and a methadone clinic.
Ugh. That doesn't sound like a good place to be at.
Barbie, it was grim and like bleak, and the place, like no person, let alone no child, should have been living there. No. It was decrepit, infested with bed bugs, mice, lice, and other insects.
Like I get it, like they're homeless, pero también que limpien. Like what's wrong?
Even raccoons were spotted in closets and bathrooms.
Not the raccoons.
At times there was heating outages, and then some
Está bien frío.
And then some rooms didn't even have electricity at all.
What the fuck?
Yeah. And
¿Para dónde va esta gente?
But that's what the state provided, and there was no playground for children. And then they would later go on to say that it was so fucking understaffed that there was like 500 families in the shelter, and they only had 6 counselors, bitch.
Stop.
Yeah.
How were they even good? 500. Wow.
It's crazy.
It is.
So also in trying to avoid going home, when she would spend time like at her tia's house or other relatives' homes, she would like fake illnesses so she wouldn't have to go home and she could stay there longer. Yeah. Now, at most times than not, her home life was reflected in her physical appearance. She'd often show up to school dirty, with dirty clothes, dirty hair, y con hambre. But she did have people at school that cared about her and watched over her. Her cheerleading coach, Shannon Smith, she would sometimes like help her wash up in the bathroom y la peinaba, le arreglaba el pelo.
Para que no se rieran de ella.
Yeah.
Because kids are...
Dicks.
Yeah.
They kept clothes for her there at the school so she would have something clean to change into. And Shannon Smith would also, cuando Relisha faltaba a la escuela, she would call Shamika and just check up on Relisha, just to make sure that she was doing okay. And a veces también she would offer her rides after school whenever she needed one. Because there were times when Relisha and her brothers would be the last ones at school waiting to be picked up. Or other times Shamika would call the school and to tell the kids to walk home.
Wow.
Yeah. Relisha and her brothers attended Payne Elementary. And when a child had accumulated 3, 5, 10 or more unexcused absences, the city, obviously they have like specific protocols that you have to follow, right? So Mr. Workman, the social worker, who...
Not Mr. Workman, the social worker.
Literally, Mr. Workman was working.
He was working with the working social working. Yeah. That's like a lot.
So he did a lot for the school. And one of the things that he helped out was with monitoring students' absences. So on March 5th, 2014, he received a school-generated letter that notified him that Relisha had reached 5 unexcused absences for the year. Mm-hmm. So when Shamika showed up that day to pick up the boys, Mr. Workman talked to her about Relisha's unexcused absences. So ella le dijo that Relisha just wasn't feeling well and that she was suffering from migraines.
So she wasn't at school that day?
Yeah.
Okay. So she went to go pick up her sons.
Yeah.
Okay.
So le dijo she's not doing well. She's
migraines.
Migraines.
How old?
8. And that she was under the care of a doctor. That she was going to her doctor, Dr. Tatum. So Mr. Workman, he's like, that's fine. We just need paperwork that, doctor's note. So Relisha's family presented some sort of letter from the shelter saying that, look, what they needed. But Mr. Workman needed something a little bit more official. So les dijo, he asked for the doctor's information. So he would contact him directly, so they could talk to each other. So he was waiting on them to give him that information for Dr. Tatum. By the end of that week, Relisha still hadn't returned to school.
Eso ya tenía una semana, la niña.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Mr. Workman was told that she was having severe migraines.
Oh, shit.
And that Dr. Tatum had taken her to a hospital in another state for treatment.
Why would it need to go to another state?
He was then handed a piece of paper que se lo dio la abuelita, Melissa.
Pues la Melissa también no está media vergada también. Let's be honest.
So Melissa, Relisha's grandmother, le dio a piece of paper to Mr. Workman with Dr. Tatum's information y número para que le marcara, so he could finally reach out to him directly. So Workman called the number and spoke to Dr. Tatum, and they would exchange phone calls over the next couple of days and the coming week. Dr. Tatum told Workman that he was treating Relisha for quote-unquote neurological issues and that she was going to be discharged soon and that by the end of that week, he would be able to provide him with all the necessary paperwork because she was going to be, released from treatment. Yeah, he would be like, I'll give you everything that you need for school. I'll get it to you when, we're done. The end of that week came and went.
No baby girl.
And the beginning of next week came and went. And Mr. Workman did not hear back from Dr. Tatum. So he reached out to him on that Wednesday asking again for the fucking paperwork. Dr. Tatum then told him to send him a breakdown of a report of what days Relisha had missed and that he was going to write notes for those days. And he gave him a fax number of where to send that report with the days that, Relisha had missed.
Which makes no sense at all. I'm just saying because I've dealt with the school before and that makes no sense.
So Workman tried to send it, but it wasn't going through. And it was just a lot of back and forth between Dr. Tatum and Mr. Workman just trying to fucking send this paperwork back and forth to each other, and it wasn't working. by March 19th.
What? You said March 5th. Wow. Okay.
So Relisha had been absent for almost 3 weeks and had close to 30 absences in that school year alone. That day,
I'm sure that wasn't like her, in the past.
Well, you can have excused absences, but most of them now were unexcused. So
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure what Mr. Workman, the social worker, was saying was this is not like her. Like she was here the whole month, and then all of a sudden she just doesn't come in.
And then he was like, "But her mom was, or her brothers were coming to school."
Yeah.
So the principal of Payne Elementary her name is Vielka Scott Marcus. She heard Workman and Dr. Tatum going back and forth, on the phone, trying to send this fucking paperwork.
Like, bro, email or whatever. Now, back then, probably, like, not email, scan or whatever.
But fax, 2014,
Give me another fax, or do you want me to bring it to you or something,
So, like I said, it's the principal, she heard them going back and forth, and she told Workman, you just go get the letter. Go to the shelter and just pick up the fucking paperwork. This is ridiculous by this point. It's been almost 3 weeks. So Workman called ahead to the shelter.
Mind you, at this time, she has not come back to school.
Right.
Okay.
Pero su familia de ella, they're saying, she's with Dr. Tatum.
So, but they're trying to get the letter to excuse her absences from past y también because she's not going to come. She's not there. Okay.
Right. Okay. So Workman called ahead to the shelter and spoke to a counselor beforehand to see if anyone was going to be available when he got there. He was told no, but that he could leave any paperwork he needed with the security guard. So Workman iba al shelter and llegó, and he gave the security guard the letters the paperwork that he was leaving for Dr. Tatum. And then Mr. Workman later, también himself, he goes on to say that the security guard was weird. Y que grabbed the papers like from the edge of the very corner, like she didn't want to touch them, as if they were poisoned. And that he was given like a confused look by the security guard.
Maybe she didn't want germs.
Él se fue. He walked out, and he said that as he was leaving, that he didn't feel right, that something didn't feel right. So he made his way back inside of the shelter.
He's like, let me go back in there.
Yeah. Dice que cuando entró, ahí estaba el counselor that he had talked to, que le dijo that no one was going to be available.
Oh, wow.
And he told the counselor that he was there to drop off some paperwork for Dr. Tatum. And I think maybe Dr. Tatum también was going to leave him something. So he was going to drop off y que iba a recoger también al mismo tiempo. Again, he was looked at weirdly by this counselor. And the counselor dijo que she picked up the phone and dialed someone. And that she said, quote, "Hello, Tatum, Mr. Workman is here to pick up some letters from you. Are you a doctor?" So, Khalil Tatum was a real person, but he was no doctor.
Oh, shit.
He was the shelter's custodian.
What the fuck?
The janitor.
The janitor.
Immediately, the school...
Red flags, bitch.
...contacted Child and Family Services Agency, and the police were immediately involved.
Yeah.
They were now focused on trying to find where Relisha has been. It's been 3 fucking weeks, bitch.
Bitch.
So Shamika went on to say that she left Relisha at her sister's Ashley's house in the care of her mother, Relisha's grandmother, Melissa. So when the police went to search Ashley's house, Relisha wasn't there. Now police were focused on this person. They focused their attention on Khalil Tatum. They learned that Tatum was close to Relisha's family, and he would spend a lot of time with Relisha. He was referred to as her godfather, and that Relisha would refer to him as goddaddy.
What the fuck?
He would buy her gifts and like things. But it wasn't just Relisha. He did those things for other girls at the shelter también.
The custodian?
Yes.
Okay. I just making sure. I'm just verifying. They say that he would even offer like girls like $20 bills and stuff, which was prohibited. The shelter had a no fraternizing policy between employees and residents, but it wasn't enforced at all. Like
They had 6 fucking counselors.
Bro, they had 500 families.
Yeah.
500.
Mothers of the girls Tatum would offer money to and the other things said that he would do it in front of shelter staff and nothing was done about it. So Antonio, también Relisha's stepdad, he también later will go on to say that staff members were even having babies with residents of the shelters and shit.
No.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So Shamika,
there was only 6, so it had to be one of the 6.
well, I'm sure like maybe they were
you
like
know what I
the,
mean? Like, oh my God.
También como que like I'm sure the turnover rate was high. So Shamika would even allow Tatum to take Relisha out of the shelter to the mall.
Ya me estaba haciendo enojar.
Le compraba outfits. She would get her nails painted. He would take her to the movies and even to his home to spend the night with him and his wife.
Nope.
He's 51.
Fuck all of that shit.
She's 8.
I'm already mad.
According to Ashley, Shamika's sister y la tía de Relisha también, she would want to go with Tatum.
Pues sí, porque la niña tenía 8 años y no tenía nada,
And she didn't want to be at home.
Well, see, and I mean, like, what do you... Oh, so
Yeah.
because you want... Oh, girl, don't get me started.
Yeah. So police also learned that Khalil Tatum had a criminal record.
I'm not surprised.
And had spent time in prison from 1993 to 2003.
Damn.
And again from 2004 to 2011. Like, bro, you got out 1 year
got
and
out.
you went right back in.
The fuck?
Yeah, for various charges such as larceny, breaking and entering, burglary.
Okay.
He was a felon, so he shouldn't have not had gotten hired at the shelter or be near kids.
In the first place? Or in the
first
second place?
All the places.
All the places?
Yes.
Yeah.
The next day on March 20th, a massive search ensued for Relisha. There were Amber Alerts in the DC area and other states. TV broadcasts stating that 8-year-old Relisha Rudd was missing and may have been traveling with 2 people in a white 1976 GMC truck with a Maryland license plate.
How did they know all that?
Well, they started talking and investigating, about Khalil Tatum. Like,
So
they
at this point, they think she's with Khalil.
Yes.
Okay. Dr. Tatum.
Doctor. In the coming days, officials in DC would be actually scrutinized about how the Amber Alert for Relisha was handled.
Really?
The Metropolitan Police Chief, Kathy Lanier, said that the Amber Alerts were sent to states as far as north as Pennsylvania and Delaware and as far as south as Florida. However, allegations came out that those Amber Alerts to other states were not issued.
Holy shit.
WUSA TV reporters asked state police in Pennsylvania, Delaware, and Florida about the alerts, and each official of the state said that there were none issued for Relisha. Also, police in North Carolina and South Carolina and New York reported their Amber Alert systems were never activated for Relisha.
Wow.
Maryland and Virginia stated that they were never sent a request for activation of their Amber Alert system, but both stated that they reached out to MPD to offer assistance, which included activation of Amber Alert. But according to Robert Hoover, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children's Amber Alert Coordinator, there were no Amber Alerts for Relisha outside of DC.
So just in DC.
DC. So
I was gonna say. So then, where did they have the Amber Alert? That was my next question.
So it was just DC. So when this hit the news, people were like, okay, so they did the bare minimum because she was a little black poor girl, not a white little girl, which would have
definitely,
it would have been all over the country for sure. All over the country.
Not only that, but honestly, probably had to do with the fact that she was a homeless person, and they're probably like, she's
not white,
and she's not white. Yeah, definitely.
When in the news conference where Police Chief Kathy Lanier was asked about the Amber Alerts not being sent, as it had been mentioned, she said that it wasn't true. So she's denying all the allegations. And she said that she herself did look into that as soon as she heard about it, or heard about the claims, but that somehow it must have been a miscommunication issue. What happened there, I don't know. But the investigation took an unexpected turn when on March 20th, remember, they started looking for Relisha when they found out that Dr. Tatum was no fucking doctor. It was March 19th. So they started looking for her then. The next day, on March 20th, Andrea Tatum, Khalil Tatum's wife, was found dead face down on a bed with a gunshot wound to the head at a Red Roof Inn motel in Maryland.
Holy shit.
There were no signs of a struggle. Khalil Tatum was the main suspect.
Yeah, duh.
And was now wanted for abduction and murder. Mm-hmm. And it's so, not that this matters, but bitch, they got married in 1990. They've been married for 24 years.
Not only that, pero, okay, 24 years, but you've been in jail twice and she was there by your side?
She stuck to you.
She
said,
was
that's
your
my
ride or
man,
die.
and I'm going to stick by him.
Yeah, that was your ride or die. Y luego para que la mates así de feo? Like, that's...
Yeah, and there were some reports that he had filed for divorce earlier that year in February. And they were saying that she was going to leave him because they were having, like, domestic disputes and stuff.
That's fine. Just
But
leave each
still.
other. ¿Para qué la matas?
Exactly.
Unless she found out he was doing something he wasn't supposed to do.
That's some of the theories that are out there, that he killed her because she knew what happened to Relisha, or she found out. So the investigation would later reveal that the couple checked into that motel at 10:04 p.m. on March 19th. There were 3 other people with them, but they left an hour and a half later. One of the men that was there first later said that he returned at 5:40 the next morning to pick up Tatum, but that he was not allowed in the room. So the stakes were higher now, right? Relisha needed to be found ASAP.
Yeah, she's in very dangerous hands right now.
Yeah, a search warrant was then executed for Tatum's apartment in hopes of finding anything that could produce any type of lead of where he might have taken her or where he was at. But the only things that they were able to recover were children's clothing and shoes, 2 passports, a photo of Relisha, 2 cell phones, a tablet, and $87 in cash. Now, in the wake of Relisha's disappearance and how she...
Why did he have a picture of her? It's fucking creepy.
Se la llevaba pa su casa.
Oh, no.
In the wake of Relisha's disappearance and how she was taken by the shelter's janitor, investigations conducted by social workers into Shamika for neglect and abuse came to light.
Oh, shit.
There were 3, dating back to when Relisha was 2 in 2007.
Oh.
One included reports of injuries to Relisha. Police were involved, but they were never able to determine how she got those injuries. In 2010, a social worker noted how one of Relisha's brothers, was not getting proper care after surgery. And the last report was from 2013. So not far from, this was 2014, March 2014, and this was just months before.
No había pasado mucho tiempo. Yeah, okay.
Where a social worker noted, quote, lack of supervision and abuse. The kids were left alone often, and Relisha was 8. She was the oldest, so they were 8, 7, 5, and 4.
Y ella los cuidaba todos. Pobrecita.
One of her brothers had been, quote, thrown around to the ground.
What?
And had a bleeding lip from being slapped.
Wow.
Police were again involved, but it was a case of he said, she said, and they were never able to determine again how the young boy had gotten his injuries. No charges were filed, and each charge was dropped. Yeah, and the children were allowed to remain with her.
Yeah, porque si se los quitan, what was going to happen?
Foster care.
Foster care, and then what? How many kids are in foster care?
So days after the search for Relisha began, Shamika was under investigation by a grand jury for obstruction of justice because of the many conflicting stories that she gave the police about Relisha's whereabouts and disappearance.
So she was already they were looking into her?
Yeah.
Okay.
At one point, she told the police and the media that she had talked to Relisha as late as March 17th, and that she was with Dr. Tatum in Atlanta.
And she really did think that Tatum was a doctor?
¿Quién sabe, güey?
Porque estás diciendo que she was with Dr. Tatum.
So you do janitorial duties, janitorial duties by day and you're a doctor by night? Or qué?
Like, I don't understand.
So
Porque she said she was with Dr. Tatum. Like, bitch, you still
as late as March 17th.
No, bitch, I don't care when the time period was. What I'm saying is, you're telling me that this lady really does think that in her mind, this fucking 51-year-old man that was fucking cleaning there was a doctor. You're still gonna think that? Okay, all right.
Yeah. So again, that they were at a medical conference in Atlanta. Y que that Relisha was fine and didn't know why everyone was making it such a big deal.
Wow.
And till this day, Barbie, She says, or she has always denied having any fault in what happened to Relisha. She blames other relatives.
Of course.
And other relatives blame her.
Yeah.
They were like, no, you had her last. They're like, no, you had her last. Like that.
Wow.
Like that.
No responsibility. No one is taking responsibility what happened to the little girl. And, you know.
Dude, if for her, no, the people that are supposed to care.
Yeah.
Like these agencies, okay, I get it. They're agencies, they're supposed to care. But even they're not her family.
No, they're not her family. The school is not her family.
Yeah.
But they didn't give a fuck. It's horrible.
So on March 25th, the FBI issued a press release in which they showed and I'm going to show it to you, a chilling surveillance video of Khalil and Relisha at a Holiday Inn Express in Northeast DC. It was dated 2/26/2014.
Are you kidding me?
The last day she was seen by anyone that knew her. It was that day. 2/26/2014. So in the video, they are walking down a hallway and she was carrying like a white bag. I don't know if they had gone shopping or something, and they walk into a room.
Wow. You know what? That man needs to have someone put him in water and then tase his balls. That's what I feel. That should happen to him. For sure. So it just looks like they're, walking down. She's wearing her little jacket, pobrecita.
She's wearing what, like pink boots? Like pink,
some little pink boots, and he's holding a bag of some sort. Oh yeah, like they went grocery shopping or something.
Or buying stuff or something, porque es lo que le compraba.
Pobrecita. Yeah, that's horrible. Oh, and then they're walking back again. And he has like a lanyard on. Yeah, they went in a room. And she's talking to him probably like, what are we going to do? Because, 8-year-olds, that's what they do. They talk a lot. And did he leave with her?
We'll get there.
Pobrecita. She looked like she was bouncing. Like she was bouncy. Like
she was like a little girl. Yeah, like she looked tired though. Like her face.
Como que she wanted to go to sleep.
Mm-hmm. Like she had like a long day.
Yeah.
So the room was...
that's Dr. Tatum.
/ Janitor Tatum. So the room was searched and nothing was found. Relisha was seen again after this on another surveillance video on March 1st and was walking past a fountain at a Days Inn, which was across the street from the Holiday Inn. And she walked inside the lobby and into a room with Khalil Tatum. So I've never seen this surveillance video. I don't think this one was ever released. And that room too was searched inside and out, but nothing was found. And this was the last day that she was actually seen on surveillance. Yes, after this, ya no encontraron nada. Mm-hmm. But police have never disclosed if there was a video surveillance of her leaving that room. Mm-hmm. They've never said that if they saw her leave. Yes, they never said it.
Okay. Or if he left alone, or did he come back, or whatever.
Right.
Okay.
So when police learned that the very next day on March 2nd, Khalil bought a 42-gallon bought a box of 42-gallon trash bags and visited Kennel.
The fuck was that?
They came out like that.
The fuck? Esta pendeja?
He bought a box of 42-gallon trash bags.
Whenever the story says they buy trash bags,
big industrial trash bags,
like that's not okay.
Yeah, that's red flag.
Something is bad.
They did something bad. Mm-hmm. And he visited Kenilworth Park and Aquatic Gardens, which was in Northeast Washington, close to the Maryland state line. So when they learned that he bought this stuff, there was another news article that I read that he bought a shovel and something else, but I didn't see that more than one. So I was like, I don't know how accurate that is, but for sure they always mention 42-gallon trash bags. So after learning that he bought that, Police Chief Kathy Lanier.
So were they, now my question is, at this point, are they now looking at the rest of now they're looking at Maryland too? Like they're looking at everybody around there?
They're expanding some searches here and there. Mm-hmm. But since they know that he spent time at that park and that he bought that stuff, in a news conference, they said that the search for Relisha had turned into a recovery mission.
Oh my God. At this point, they probably saw something, dude.
Yeah.
They probably either seen him walk out without her,
and then he bought that shit?
Yeah, and he bought that shit.
And then he's spending time at the fucking park?
Not only that, but think about it. Like, where did he put the bags? Did he put them, like, did he carry the bags out? Like,
where did
they
you buy
had to,
that?
They had to have seen something that they're not disclosing.
I mean, they still hoped that they were going to find her alive, but there was a very high possibility that he killed her.
Yeah. I mean,
He killed his wife.
Fuck, yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I shot her in the head.
Yeah.
I
mean, he hadn't killed her yet, but I mean, you know, by this point, you know, because this was March 2nd.
So then I wonder, if what is her name? Relisha was alive whenever he killed her, his wife. Or not alive, or with him.
But he killed her. He killed his wife on the 19th of March. That's when she went missing.
Okay.
So we're going backwards here.
Yeah,
I'm
I know,
sorry.
I get that. But my question was
maybe la wife found out what he did to her, so that's why he killed her then, you know?
Maybe. But then why would he take her to a hotel?
Why not?
Oh, it's so weird. I mean, if you're going to kill your wife, might as well just kill her at the house. I'm just saying.
But they lived in an apartment, so...
Se iban a dar cuenta. Pero my deal is, okay, so then I understand where you're coming. I'm like thinking, okay, so maybe she questioned him or something, you know, like,
that's what I'm
¿Dónde
saying.
Estabas? You know.
So there was just a
¿Para
high
qué compraste
possibility.
las bolsas?
42 gallons. What do you need for 42 gallons?
You know, mm-hmm.
So
I mean, he is a janitor. Let's be honest.
He's gonna pick up the raccoon at the shelter or
maybe
something.
He was picking something up. I mean, he's a janitor.
Yeah,
he ain't locked. I'll tell you that much.
So Kenilworth Park and Aquatic Gardens would be the main focus of where the search for Relisha would take place over the next couple of days and almost couple of weeks. But they had their work cut out for them because this park / Aquatic Gardens was fucking huge.
Shit.
700 acres.
Mother. Te digo, mamás. 700 acres. What the fuck? Well, I mean, he did his research. He did that was his point. He was going to give him a hard time to find a body.
Or anything,
yeah.
The Metropolitan Police Department, and I'm not laughing because this is funny. Obviously, we know it's not funny, but Barbie's reaction.
Yeah, my face.
Funny.
I was like, what the fuck?
The Metropolitan Police Department led the search and asked the community to assist. Like, everybody in Washington, D.C. just wanted to find this little girl because...
Everybody was invested.
Yeah. There were hundreds of people on foot. There were helicopters, you name it. It was a massive search. So on March 31st, 11 days after the search for Relisha began, there was a body found in a shed at the park. And it was the body of 51-year-old Khalil Tatum.
He killed himself.
He was found with a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. By the time he was found, he had been there, they estimated 36 hours to several days, according to police.
So then after he left and he did what he did and then he killed himself?
There were no signs of Relisha or her whereabouts found at the scene. And ballistics would later reveal that the gun he used to kill himself was the same gun used to kill his wife. Now, no one has ever been charged in the disappearance of Relisha Rudd, and the search for her continues to this day.
This cannot be the end of this, right?
Yeah, this is it.
There's no way. I'm not leaving here until you give me a reason of why this happened to this child.
Age progression photos are released from time to time, as, you know, pasa el tiempo, and the FBI is offering a reward of up to $25,000 for any information leading to the location or return of Relisha Rudd.
They need to beat the shit out of that mom because she knows something.
And if you have any information, please contact the FBI at 1-800-CALL-FBI, or you can contact your local FBI office. So, after Relisha's disappearance, the city investigated what happened and if it could have been prevented, being that so many state agencies had looked into Shamika, like they were in contact with the family. So how did she fall through the cracks? And people wanted answers.
They could have gone. Yeah. They could have avoided this if they would have taken the kids away from her.
The report, which was compiled by 2 deputy mayors, the heads of 4 city agencies, and an independent child welfare expert, was released 6 months later. I think it was September. And the state concluded that nothing could have been done to prevent her disappearance.
Of course not. Mm-hmm.
One specific reason was that it was Relisha's own family misleading the police.
Dude, they need to talk to that fucking mom.
Dozens of policy changes were recommended after what happened to Relisha, including how schools deal with unexcused absences, background checks for homeless shelter employees, and the fraternization between families and shelter staff. That's just kind of just on the surface, right? But I'm sure there's plenty more. Now, Shamika lost custody of her sons.
As she should.
As she should have. And I believe, I'm not quite sure, at least as of 2021, they were still in foster care, because her and Antonio ended up on the Steve Wilkos show.
What?
Yeah. And I think they're obviously not together anymore, but todavía she's like, it wasn't my fault. It wasn't my fault.
But what? Okay,
so that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I know that.
That's
but she wasn't fucking on Steve. But what I'm saying is, you need to know what happened with that day. Who did she leave with? Why was she seen with this 51-year-old man at a surveillance camera in a hotel?
And then they say it's reported, she was like, she let Khalil, ella le dio a Relisha on 2/26, which is the day of that video. So, but she's saying, oh no, I left her in the care of my mom, her grandmother, at my sister's house.
So then did they go pick her up from over there, or what the fuck?
I'm wondering if ella se la dio a Khalil, and then Khalil was supposed to take her to Ashley's, because nobody batted an eyelash. They all knew.
He had her.
That él se la llevaba, que Shamika se la prestaba.
Wow. That's crazy.
Because they're like, Ashley was like, he would always bring her back until he didn't.
Wow. Okay. So.
And no, that's it. Like, nobody has nothing. The city didn't take any responsibility. No agencies, not her fucking family.
And they're on fucking Steve and shit?
Steve Wilkos. I just think of Jerry Springer when I see him.
I know, but it's just so ridiculous. And why?
She was 8.
She was 8. And then the lady, she probably found something out and was going to tell somebody, and that's why he killed her. And then he killed himself because he's a fucking coward.
It's a little bitch.
Little fucking bitch, cockroach, motherfucker.
Stomp on your ass.
Stomp. Pinche madre. Anyway, well, there goes that story.
Sad.
So sad. But if you would like, another note, if you would like to follow us on Instagram, you're more than welcome to at
Cafecito and Crime Pod.
And please make sure that you are downloading our episodes and that come out every Thursday. If you are new to us here, thank you so much for your support, and let us know what we should do next, or what should we talk about next.
Or what you think of this episode.
Yeah, let us know what you think. You can leave us what is it called when you leave a
comment?
No, ¿qué te dan?
Send a DM?
No, pendeja. ¿Cómo se llama?
Leave us a review?
A review?
Oh, but that's about the podcast, not the episodes.
Oh, yeah. Let us know what you think about this episode. Just send us a DM.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Bye.